All right, CC, how did they do it? How did the Warriors come back after a close game one and beat the Cavs so convincingly last night in game two?
Well, offensively, they changed up what they were going to do, how they were going to attack the Cavs defense. They started slipping the screens on the pick and roll. We talked about that a bunch. They got a bunch of layups and dunks early in the game. And then every once in a while, they went to KD, went to Clay a little bit. Steph was not playing great. Then he hits 5 threes in the fourth quarter. So at different stages, they just have more ways to win. They have more paths to victory than any team in the NBA. So there is no one set way. There is no, oh, we're just going to come out and shoot threes. We're just going to come out and play great defense. No, they're a great basketball teams, and they got a lot of different levels to them, and you could see that in last night's game. Steph catching fire. Clay catching fire. Or KD catching fire. We know it's going to happen. It's just a matter of which one. But Steph, it's a story of 3 quarters and then the fourth quarter. And in the fourth quarter, he was spectacular. 16 points in the fourth, where I believe the game could have gone either way, even though the Golden State did have a 6 to 8 point lead pretty much the first 6 minutes or the first 4 minutes of that quarter. So it's a good story. Steph still didn't shoot the type of percentage you would want. If you don't look at it with a fine and pick it apart, like you would think Steph had a tremendous game outside the 3-pointers. Like he shot the ball poorly over the course of the game. Now, his rebounding and his ability not to turn the ball over, those have been very, very good in game 1 and game 2.
So, all right, so we'll start with Steph and then get to the other guys. Like LeBron said a few weeks ago, he's like, 2 points not always 2 points. He's like, maybe I'll explain why, in the offseason to you guys. But his point was sometimes there are certain plays that are worth more than the points they add to the score. I mean, that's how Steph's threes are, particularly in that building. Steph threes get his teammates and that crowd to a level of excitement and volume from the crowd that no one else does, that no one else in the team can. And his offense at times can be not intoxicating, but infectious for the other team, for the other players. Now, he didn't need to be infectious in the fourth quarter. He was an offense unto himself. He scored 16 points in the fourth quarter all by himself, but he was borderline unguardable. They've started running this play the last couple games of the Houston series and into this one where he throws the ball to the baseline and then immediately runs behind whomever he throws it to, and you've seen him a couple times get the ball.
Yeah, what he typically does, he throws the ball in the corner, short of the corner, and he goes through the lane, goes to the baseline where he can go either way. Then he ends up, because they end up losing him, he comes back around into the deep corner.
Into the deep corner, and the guy he passes it to, we've seen multiple times, passes it to him between his legs, and then sets usually a moving screen, but certainly a screen, and he gets that 3. He was so good in the fourth, and it was demoralizing for Cleveland. But they're not in that position if 2 things don't happen. One, not take Steph, KD, and Clay out of it. All the other Warriors shot 62% from the field, 18 of 29. So your non-offensive firepower was great for them. But their defensive game plan on LeBron, of making him work to get the ball past half court, trapping him at half court, double teaming him on the block, and making him find the open man. And when the Cavs can't hit shots, that's what kept LeBron under 30. That's what kept the Warriors in charge the entire game.
I felt like the Cavs made a huge mistake when Clay, he was questionable before the game. And when you start to see the lineups and you can start to see that KD and Draymond they were going to guard LeBron a lot, I thought they should have had George Hill bring the ball up, because then you make Clay work for another 30 to 45 feet. You make him work in the backcourt, he's got a bad leg. Don't let George Hill run all the way down to get in the corner, because you make it easy on Clay. I believe they really miscalculated that injury situation with Clay, and they should have made him work harder.
So here's the deal, the Cavs are this terrible team who have LeBron, and the Warriors are this seemingly perfect team with 4 All-Stars and got so much help from their bench players.
Time out for a minute. You can't be a terrible team and be in the NBA Finals. They played terribly as a supporting cast.
That's fair, of course. Sure.
They have played as a supporting the superstar.
Sure.
We have not seen a group. So the things that we come up with, the adjectives we come up with, they're warranted.
Okay. So anyway, here's a team that, for all intents and purposes, has no business winning the NBA Finals. Would that be fair to say?
Yes.
And yet, it took a lights-out fourth quarter from Steph Curry because then explain to me how they were down by 6. They easily could have stayed in this game with the role players they have, with only Jeff Green.
Listen, it's hard for me to make the argument that the Cavs were ever in this game when they never led once. They never tied once after 0-0. Like, the Warriors instantly got out to a lead. Now, what the Cavs did well is, in the third quarter, they didn't let the Warriors knock them out. The Warriors have been knocking people out in the third quarter all year long. The Cavs went to halftime down 13. They went to the fourth quarter down 10. So that means they won the third quarter. What was different in the third quarter? Well, for the game, the Cavs were 4 of 18 from 3, except for in the third quarter when they were 5 of 9. Like, LeBron had been hitting open shooters the whole game. In the third quarter, they either hit shots from LeBron or they made the extra pass to get a wide open 3. The Cavs stayed. They didn't let go of the rope until the very end of the game. But it felt to me like Golden State was in firm control throughout. Anytime the Cavs got it down to 3 possessions, the Warriors pushed it back up to 4 possessions.
Well, it seems like that they were in control of the game because they were. The Cavs never pressed them. Now, if LeBron, fourth quarter, they're down by 10. If LeBron goes off in the fourth quarter, especially in the first 3 or 4 minutes, then, yeah, you can make a case that, yes, it was there. Steph ends up having the big quarter compared to LeBron, but if LeBron has that quarter and gets some support, you could have seen them making this game tough. And the way they played them in the first game, it should have been like, yes, they should have had the confidence to be able to finish the game stronger than what they did. But a barrage of threes, and those weren't normal threes. And that crowd supporting that team, they're just hard when they're making threes, especially late in the game in Oracle.
The other thing we've got to watch in watching these games is, as far as what the Warriors or Cavs' chances are, is, has LeBron gone to the bench yet? Because I was not optimistic that LeBron was going to have some monster fourth quarter, because he played the entire game until it was garbage time. He didn't go to the bench until there were 4 minutes left. They took all the starters out. So for example, game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals against the Celtics, he played all 48. Man, that's the first time he'd done that in 12 years. He was going, if that game was closed down the stretch, he was going to play all 48 because they didn't rest him at the end of the first, they didn't rest him at the end of the third. That's so much to ask anybody to do. So he was going to need some of his teammates to hit shots, and they couldn't. But I want to give the Warriors credit. Like, I thought they did what the Celtics should have done. I thought they did what the Raptors had no shot, I guess, but what the Pacers should have done, which is say, we will let the other guys beat us.
Yeah.
Try to beat us. We are going to double team LeBron James. It seems like an obvious concept, but we haven't seen teams repeatedly do it. The Warriors didn't do it in game 1. He goes for 50. They do it in game 2, and LeBron's teammates couldn't hit shots.
The Warriors took a page from what the Pacers did, because they did pressure LeBron in the backcourt. They just didn't double team him. So the Warriors said, you know something? We're going to take both of those things. We're going to pressure him in the backcourt, and then we're going to double team him to get the ball out of his hand very effectively.
We started this segment talking about Steph Curry. I asked you this. Did he help himself last night with MVP?
Listen, he went into the game with Kevin Durant as the slight Vegas favorite. Curry was even money. LeBron was plus 225, which was amazing, because the Cavs to win the series were plus 800. So Vegas was saying LeBron could win it without winning the series. They haven't posted him yet this morning. My guess is Steph will be something like minus 200. He will be the overwhelming favorite to win Finals MVP. And so, yes, the answer to your question is yes.
9 threes in one game, an NBA record, 5 in the fourth quarter, which was the story of the game. Yes, you'd have to move him right to the forefront.
All right, let's take a break. One more segment coming up. Was game 1 still